Metal Jesus here, and today I want to talk about some of the new games I've got over the last month. Got a little bit of a stack here, so let's get going. First up, I had to get Chrono Trigger for the DS. I love Chrono Cross. I've played this many years ago, but I heard that the DS version is really good, and I wanted to get it, and I'm not disappointed. This is awesome. Next up for my PSP is Castlevania. And this is pretty cool because it's 2 games in 1. And seemed like a good value. I bought this actually, I think, for 10 bucks used. Good deal. Original PlayStation game, I got Syphon Filter 2. I love the PSP Syphon Filter games. Looking forward to going back and playing this and sort of seeing where they all started. Next up, I have some original Xbox games. First up is a game I've been looking for a while, which is Oddworld. Stranger's Wrath, and I've played quite a bit of this, and a couple things I would say is that one, I think the graphics are absolutely beautiful, and it's a really interesting sort of style of game. It's a combination of third-person and first-person shooter, and done really well, and unlike anything I've ever played. It's pretty cool. Next up for the Xbox is Panzer Dragoon Orta, and this just seemed like a weird enough game that I just sort of needed to own it. I don't really have a lot of sort of on-rail shooters, and this is kind of fun to have. For the Nintendo Gamecube, I picked up a little bit of a stack here. Wario World. Didn't know much about this game, kind of just bought it on a whim. It was, I think, $1 or $2. Pretty cool. And next up is another kind of on-the-whim game. Outlaw Golf and Darkened Sky. It's a dual game thing here. And I really actually bought it just because I love golf games, and I haven't played any of the Outlaw Golf games, and that sounds kind of fun. Next up, 13 for the Gamecube. This is a first-person shooter in a sort of cel-shaded comic book style. It's pretty cool. This is a game I bought simply because I like the movie. Actually, this is one of my favorite Pixar movies. No surprise if you know me, because I love comic books, and this is, you know, about superheroes. This is not a great game. Actually, it breaks one of the cardinal rules for games, in that it doesn't allow you to completely control the options for the camera, and so the controls are backwards for me, and it just drives me crazy. So played that a little bit and put it away. Thankfully, I only paid it like $1 or $2 for it. And then I had to get Beautiful Joe, the original, for the Gamecube. I haven't played this yet. I've heard great things about it. I know I'm probably breaking some sort of rule by have not have played this before, but now I own it, now I can. And finally, for the PlayStation 2, I've gotten a bunch of games. Based on a recommendation on YouTube, I had to get Black. This is a first-person shooter, and it's made by the people who make the Burnout games. And I've actually played a lot of this, and I would say that it's actually pretty damn cool. It gets a little repetitive towards the end, and it can be punishingly difficult, especially towards the end. It's just wave after wave of guys. But that said, things blow up real good in this game. A lot of fun. Next up is a action RPG called XMen Legends 2: Rise of the Apocalypse. I played, I think, the first one, and these are fun. You know, sort of brainless beat 'em ups, but with enough variety and RPG elements that I can really dig it. Next up is Rise of Kasai. Rise of the Kasai. Sequel to The Mark of Cree, which is a pretty fun game. Sort of rare. I don't think it sold very well. And this is, I guess, it's sort of a spiritual sequel. And I just saw this. I didn't even know about it and decided to buy it. Next up is Metal Slug 4 and 5. I was actually looking for the Metal Slug Anthology. My last pickups video, I got the PSP version. I actually played almost every game on it. Loved it. I'm new to this series, and so I was like, well, you know, I got to get some for my screen, my big TV, and so I went looking for this and found it, and it's kind of weird. It actually has each game on their own DVD, which is not really, I mean, there's no reason to. These games are not large, but for whatever reason, they decided to do that. For this, I bought it. I think I paid $5 for it. Not a big deal. Pretty cool. Next up, Star Wars Battlefront 2. I bought this because I have the original, and I haven't actually played this, which is kind of silly, but I'm looking forward to it. These games are actually pretty awesome. I have the PSP version of the original Battlefront and played it to death. And then finally for the PlayStation 2, I have Ace Combat 4. I've been wanting to start collecting the Ace Combat games. I love flight sims. I used to play them a lot. I think I kind of got burned out on them, and so now that these are really cheap, I paid $5 for this game. I'm planning on going back and buying some of the other ones. This is kind of, I think they have an Ace Combat 5 as well, maybe 6. I don't know. So that's it pretty much for my games I picked up this month. But I also should mention, of course, and I did in a previous video, that actually my other pickup was, you know, the Apple iPad. And so I've actually been buying some games on this. And the thing I love about the iPad is that a lot of the prices of games are actually retro priced. You know, this game here, Drop 7, which is kind of like Tetris. It's a cross between Tetris and Sudoku. If you're really into sort of numbers and stuff like that in Tetris, this is a really cool game. I think this game is $3 or $5, and a lot of games are about that price. And so it's a pretty fun platform to buy games for. The only thing I don't know is that, you know, you don't have any physical medium. Now, you back them up, but as a collector, it sort of worries me that some of these games that I'm buying, you know, may not work in the future, and so it's not optimal. So I'm not really crazy about that sort of, you know, type of gaming model. But since they're cheap enough, I'm willing to dive into it. So, all right, well, that's it for this month. Thanks for watching.